Good morning, Year 5s, and welcome to your maths lesson. We're going to dive straight into our starter today. So if you can please pause the video and have a go at your 5 questions. Good luck. Right, we're going to now see how we've done. So the first one is a nice mental calculation. So 60 times 100. So I first say 6 times 1 is 6, and then I add the zeros. So there are 3 zeros, so I add the 3 zeros. Make another color so it's a little more easier for you to see. Right, so 6,000 is number 1. Number 2, I'm going to write the number, making sure that I'm setting it out correctly in the place value columns, 382. So all my ones line up, my tens, my hundreds, my thousands, and I'm going to be adding. Right, 3 plus 2 is 5. 8 plus 8 is 16, carry the 1. 7 plus 3 plus 1 is 11, carry the 1. And 1 plus 6 is 7. So my answer is 7,165. Hopefully you got that correct. Right, next question. I've got 6 times 2, which is 12, and 12 times 6 is 72. Just knowing my timetables is very important. Question number 4 is 34.62 multiplied by 8. Right, and I'm going to do my multiplication. And the only thing I need to watch out for is now my decimal. So 8 times 2 is 16, carry 1. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 1 is 49, carry the 4. Making sure that I've got 2 digits after my decimal. So I'm going to put my decimal point in because there are my 2 digits. Right, 8 times 4 is 32. 32 plus 4 is 36. And 8 times 3 is 24. And 24 plus 7 is 27. 24 plus 3, yeah, is 27. So hopefully you managed to get that correct. Okay. And the last one there is using our fraction knowledge. We've got 6 sevenths and I've got 8 14ths. And I want to know if this is true or false. Is this fraction greater than this fraction? So first of all, in order to compare fractions, I cannot compare fractions that do not have the same bottom number. Okay, remember when we're working out comparing and ordering and adding and subtracting, we need to make sure that the bottom numbers are the same. So we are going to first look at the bigger number and we're going to decide if the smaller number can go into the bigger number. Yes, it can. So my bottom number is going to be 14. Right, now I've changed this 7 to get 14. So what must I do to the 6? I must also change it. Very good. So what did I do to the 7 to get 14? I multiplied it by 2. Very good. So I say 7 times 2 is 14. Remember, this is just an equivalent fraction we're making. And now I'm going to say 6 times 2 is 12. All right. And I look at this fraction and I go 14 to 14. I haven't done anything. So I'm not going to do anything to the 8. Okay, I've actually just multiplied it by 1 really. Right, now, do we agree that 12 is bigger, is greater than 8? Yes, we do. So my answer is true. Okay, because 12 is bigger than 8 because my bottom numbers are the same. So I can now compare those 2 fractions. Right, today's learning objective is we're going to be revising our fractions from the last couple of weeks. I know there has been a lot and I'm really, really proud of those children who have persevered and worked through their fractions. I know it is tricky. I know that often fractions is something that scares us. And I am very understanding that sometimes at the first time we're not going to get it right. But if we just try our best and we keep trying and we don't give up, we will eventually get there. Okay, so we're going to be looking now at just recapping our knowledge from the last couple of weeks, and perhaps things are going to start making a lot more sense today. So the first thing we looked at was making equivalent fractions, okay? And we looked at, you have a fraction and you want to make the exact same amount that it's taking up, but just looks different, okay? So even though it looks different, it still means it's the same amount of space. So they are equivalent fractions because they are equal. So if you would like to challenge yourself and see how much you have remembered, you can pause the video now and have a go at working out the equivalent fraction to this, and then you can see if you get it right. Those children who just want to make sure that they're understanding it, you can be doing it with me. So on your piece of paper, you can write this fraction out, and those children who want to try and do it on their own before they hear the answer or where they go through it with me, you can pause the video now and see if you can do it. Okay, so all of you should have written this fraction now on your piece of paper. If you haven't, pause the video and then do that. Right, now, first of all, we're going to be drawing our arrows. We always draw the arrow to the missing value. We're pointing it to the missing value. Right, can you remember what we do next now? Good. We look at the 12 and we say, what did we do to 12 to get 3? So if you can now put that at the bottom here, tell me, what did you do to 12 to get 3? Put it over here by your arrow. Okay, and hopefully you said divide by 4. And now we're going to double check. This is where we need to pause and check, because some of you might have written times 4. Now, if we've written times 4, let's have a look when we pause and that we do our check. That's why this step is very important. Is 4 times 12, 4, is 12 times 4, 3? No, it is not. So then I just need to take away the times and put divide in its place and say, is 12 divided by 4, 3? Yes, it is. And that's why we put the arrow to show which direction we're going in. So I'm going from 12 to 3. So I'm going from big to small. And if I'm going from big to small, I need to be dividing. Now, what must I put at the top of this arrow? Can you please write it on your piece of paper? Good, you would have hopefully put divided by 4 as well, because remember, whatever we do to this number, we need to do the same to the top number. Right, so I'm going to say 4 divided by 4 is 1. Okay, if I had 4 pencils and I said to you, I want to make a group of 4, and you took all 4 pencils, you're going to put them into one group, so there's only 1. So hopefully you managed to get a third. Right, let's look at how we can apply our equivalent fraction knowledge. It says here that I need to shade this block 3/4 of this block. Now, this number here at the bottom tells me how many times I have divided up this shape. Now, have I divided up the shape into 4 parts? No, I have not. Can you now pause the video and count how many blocks I have divided it up into? Good, and an easy way to say it is to count. I've got 4 at the top and 4 going down, and 4 times 4 is 16. So I have 16 blocks now, and 16 blocks is always a number that goes at the bottom is the total that I have, okay? I want to work out 3/4 of the shape. It is not 3 blocks, okay? Because the bottom number tells me how many times I divided up this shape. If I had a shape that looked like this, and I divided it like that I could do very easily because it has been divided up into 4 parts and I can color in 3 of them. But this shape here is not divided into 4 equal parts, it is divided into 16 equal parts. So I'm going to say, I write the 3/4 because that's what I'm trying to work out, how much I'm a shade, equals how many 16ths. So now do you think you can go and have a go at doing all of that using that equivalent fraction knowledge? So pause the video and have a go. Okay, let's have a look. So we've got putting our arrows in first, always pointing to the missing value. Both arrows need to point to the same direction. And then I look at the bottom because there's more information at the bottom. And I say, what did I do to 4 to get 16? I times it by 4. And now what must I not forget to do? Stop and check. So I'm going to say, is 4 times 4 16? Yes. So what must I do to the top number? I must times it by 4 as well. Good job. Now I'm going to say 3 times 4 is 12. And now I have 12 16ths. So how many blocks would I need to color in? I would need to color in 12 of these blocks in order for it to be 3/4. Okay, all right. And if you had a look here, if I had to divide it into 4 equal parts, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4, I would have colored in 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. And therefore, I've done the same amount of space, okay, to get that number. So 12/16 is still equal to 3/4. All right, so that is my steps to success. So I first got to count all the shapes that I have. Okay, count all the blocks, all the triangles, all the hexagons, whatever shape they give you, and that becomes my denominator. And then I take what fraction I'm trying to shade, and I say it's equal to that. And then I do my equivalent fraction knowledge, and the top number tells me how many blocks I need to shade. So there is your steps to success to help you there. Right, can you remember, and I will leave these steps to success here. See if you can write this now. This is my mixed number and I want to make it an improper fraction. Can you write this mixed number on your piece of paper now? And can you use those steps to success to help you to make an improper fraction? So pause the video and have a go. Okay, so let's follow my steps to success. Right, number 1, I say the bottom number times the whole number. So I'm going to say the bottom number times the whole number is going to be 18. And then I need to add the top number. Sorry, that's my dog. I think somebody's at the door. Right, so 3. Okay, so I have now said 6 times 3 is 18, and now I'm going to add the top numbers. So I'm going to say 18 plus 2 is going to be 20. And I write 20 over here. Right, and then I must leave the bottom number the same. So if the bottom number is 6, I'm going to leave it as 6. Okay, so let's go through that steps very quickly. So bottom number, the denominator, times the whole number. Remember, this is a whole number and this is the fraction. So I'm going to say 6 times 3 is 18, and I can write it down here for you. 6 times 3 is 18. And then I'm going to say plus the top number, and then that will give me this number here. And I leave the bottom number the same. Right, see if you can use these steps to success now, and see if you can then work out now an improper to a mixed. So if you can just pause your video and have a go at working out that. Okay, so step number 1 says, how many times does the bottom number go into the top number equally? So how many groups of 4 can I make with 9? And if you think about 9 sweets, okay, I always think about sweets. I like sweets. So I've got 9 sweets. How many groups of 4 can I make? So if it's going to help you, draw out that number at the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are my 9 sweets. How many groups of 4 can I make? There is 1 group of 4. And there is another group of 4. Right, so how many groups do I have here? I have 2 whole groups. What am I left over with? Okay, so that is my whole number. And then what is left over is going to become my top number of my fraction. So I'm left with 1. So I'm going to put my 1 over here. And then again, I leave the bottom number the same. Okay, so how many times does that number go into 9 equally? If you need, draw out 9 or 10 or 30, whatever it is at the top, that's how many you have. And then you're making groups from the bottom, okay? All right, so then, and whatever you're left over with, you then put as the top number and you leave the bottom number the same, Okay, whatever this bottom number is, it's going to be that bottom number. Right, when we order and compare, this is very important. This is the same steps we need to follow with addition and subtraction. We are going to then use our making sure that our bottom numbers are the same. So if you would like to see, if you would like to have a go at first deciding which fraction is greater using those steps to success, you may do so, and pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so let's look at this together. Step number 1, look at the bottom numbers. Can the smaller number go into the bigger number? And if no, we must find the lowest common multiple. So are these bottom numbers the same for starters? No, they're not. So we're going to have to change them. So I look at the bigger number and I say, can the smaller number go into the bigger number? And yes, it can. So I'm going to put 16 and I'm going to put 16. Right, now I've done the first one. Second step says make equivalent fractions. So now, what did I do to the 8 to get 16? Okay, and if it's going to help you, you can do your little equivalent fraction on the side here. And you've got 16s that you're working in. So what did you do to 8 to get 16? You multiplied it by 2. So what are you going to do to the 1? You're going to multiply it by 2. So that number there is 2. If you do it this way, vertically, you could say 8 times 2 gives me 16. So 1 times 2 is going to be 2. That is my equivalent fraction. And the same here. What did I do to 16 to get 16? I did nothing. Okay, I multiplied by 1. So the same with the top. I'm not going to change that number. Right, and now I can compare these two numbers. I can say, right, which one is bigger? Because I want the greater. Okay, greater means bigger. And then I can decide, right, the 5 is going to be greater. So which fraction is greater? 5/16 is going to be my answer. Okay. All right. So we looked at the top numbers and we decided that 5 is bigger than 2. And then if we are going to be ordering them, I need to make sure that I write the original fraction. Okay, so this one, the original fraction was 5/16. However, if 2/16 was bigger, let's say this was 1/16, then I would need to write the original fraction. So let's have a look at that in this step. So step number 1 that we have to follow is the first we're going to be, are my bottom numbers the same? No, they're not. So I'm going to go find the biggest number, which is 9. And can I say that these numbers can go into 9? No, they can't. So if I count in 3s, if I count in 6s, and if I count in 9s, which is the number that's going to appear in all of those? It's going to be number 18. 3 can go into 18, 6 can go into 18, and 9 can go into 18. And we call that our lowest common multiple. Okay, right. So now that I have my numbers that are the same at the bottom, I now need to make my equivalent fractions. So I'm going to say, right, what did I do to the 3 to get 18? I times it by 6. So whatever I do to the one number, I need to do to the other number. So I'm going to say 6 times 1 is 6. What did I do to 6 to get 18? I said 6 times 3 is 18. So whatever I do to the one number, I need to do to the other number. So 4 times 3 is 12. And whatever I do to the 9 to get 18, which is times 2, I need to do to my other number. Also times it by 2, which is 4. Now, I've made my equivalent fractions. Now I'm going to look at my top numbers to compare and order them. And the very important part now is I need to write the original fractions. So if it's going to help you, on these little ones, you can put a little number. So I want from smallest to biggest, making sure that I'm reading those questions very carefully. So which is the smallest number, 6, 12, or 4? Right, it's going to be 4. So I'm going to write a little one here because that one's going to come first. Then which is the next largest number? It is the 6. So I can put a little 2. Okay, and if you want to put a little circle around it so that you don't make 14 or you don't write 26, which is the next one, it's going to be 12/18. Okay, so now I've ordered them, but now, very, very important, is I need to write the original fraction. Okay, that original fraction I need to write. So, which is number 1? It's 4/18. Now, that is not the original fraction. What is the original fraction? It's going to be 2/9. Now, I've written number 1 there, so I know that that one's going to come first. So 2/9, comma. What is number 2? Here, I've written it here, but what is the original fraction? It is 1/3. And then my last one is 4/6, which is my original fraction. And there we go. That is it. Right, and a reminder of addition and subtraction. It's the same method we've been learning for the last couple of days, is I need to find my bottom number first, okay? So let me just move this one a little bit down. See if you can pause the video now and have a go at seeing if you can answer this question first. Right, let's see how you did. So first of all, step number 1 is I need to make my bottom numbers the same. Are my bottom numbers the same? No. So I look at the biggest number and I say, can the small number go into the bigger number? Yes, it can. So I'm going to write 12 and I'm going to make 12s. Right, so now I'm going to make an equivalent fraction. So I'm going to say, what did I do to 12 to get 12? I did nothing. So what am I going to do to the 4? I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to leave it as it is. Right, what I do to 3 to get 12 now? I times it by 4. So what must I do to the 2? I must also times it by 4, which is 8. And now that my top numbers are the same, my bottom numbers are the same, I can now add my top numbers and I get 12 12ths. Now, can you remember, we learned about this the other day, if I have the top number and the bottom number are exactly the same, what is it going to equal? 1, okay? I wouldn't write, if I said to you, write the number 1, you wouldn't give me a fraction. Remember, if your top number and your bottom number are the same, I'd like you to start thinking like a year 5 and go, well, 12 can go into 12 one whole time. And so I would write 1. Right, and the next one. So we got our subtraction. So again, are my bottom numbers the same? No, they're not. So I'm going to look at the bigger number, which is 8. Can 4 go into 8? Yes, it can. It can go in equally. So I'm going to make 8s. Right, now I'm going to make my equivalent fractions. So what I do to 4 to get 8? I times it by 2. So what am I going to do to the 3? I'm going to times it by 2 as well, which is going to be 6. What did I do to 8 to get 8? I did nothing. So what am I going to do to the 2? I'm going to leave it the same as well. And now what I must be very mindful of is that I'm going to subtract. A lot of children tend to add. So 6 minus 2 is 4. Leave the bottom number the same. Right, so you can now do the last one for me, which is just when we're adding 3 or more fractions together. So see if you can pause the video and have a go at this one. Right, last one to practice. Okay, so same method. I have to make all the bottom numbers the same. My bottom numbers are not the same, so I'm first going to look at the biggest number, which is 9. 9 cannot be the bottom number because 6 cannot go into 9 equally. So again, I'm going to find my lowest common multiple, the number that all those numbers can go into, and it's going to be 18. And now I need to make equivalent fractions. So what do I do to 3 to get 18? I times it by 6. So I need to do the same to the top number. I need to times it by 6, which is going to be 12. What do I do to the 6 to get 18? I times it by 3. So what must I do to the 1? I also need to times it by 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. And what do I do to 9 to 18? I times it by 2. So what am I going to do to the 2? I'm also going to times it by 2, which is going to be 4. All right, and now I'm adding them. Because my bottom numbers are the same, I simply add them and say 12 plus 3 is 15. 15 plus 4 is 19 over 18ths. I have 19 18ths. Okay, and that is my answer. All right, so just try and follow those steps. Hopefully that makes sense for you today. You're now going to log onto Teams. I will put all these steps to success in the files tabs for you so you can go and have a look at them if you get stuck. Read your questions carefully. There is quite a lot of reasoning today, so just do your best, okay? Just try your best and see how you do. All right, so good luck, and I hope you do well with your math today. Take care.